Hey guys, I'm Mark from Porsche Sport and welcome to week 29 of the Premier League review. If you want to know this series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorer. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 18th and Sunday the 19th of March 2017. Also next to the games are the times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific game, just go at the time next to the match and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Everton versus Hull. Both teams started this match off slow, but it was Everton who took the lead in the 9th minute when the ball is with Morgan Schneiderlin. He gives it to Ross Barkley, who plays in Tom Davies. Davies then puts it across and it falls to 20-year-old Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who was able to tap home for his first goal for Everton. After this, the game sort of died a little bit, and the next bit of action we're talking about was when Hull's day went from bad to worse as they went down to 10 men. It came when Tom Huddlestone came flying in on a dressing guy, and the referee showed Huddlestone a straight red card. And Everton would take advantage of the extra man, as only 4 minutes later they went 2-0 up. It came when substitute Enner Valencia played a 1-2 with Romelu Lukaku before finishing calmly. And Everton will put the game beyond any doubt in the 90th minute when Romelu Lukaku capped off an eventful week by getting himself a goal. The roles were reversed from the last goal, as this time it was Enner Valencia who played in Lukaku, and the Belgian striker became the first Everton player since the 1985-86 season to score 20 goals. But he didn't just want 20, he wanted 21, as 2 minutes later Romelu Lukaku would get his second and Everton's fourth of the day. It came following horrible defending from Hull as they attempted to play a back pass that Lukaku was able to pounce on, and the big Belgian rolled the ball into the net. And that's how the game would end, a comfortable win for Everton, who continue their great home form as of late, as this was their 6th home win in a row. And as for Hull, every loss you just feel that they are one of the favourites to go down, but it is so tight down the bottom of the table that there are about 6 teams that are still in danger of going down. But with this result, Everton actually moved up to 6th and it put them level on points with Arsenal, but Manchester United could move them down to 7th on Sunday, and Hull are down in 18th. And we move on to West Ham versus Leicester. Be prepared, because this match had a rapid start, as only 4 minutes into the match, Leicester took the lead through Riyad Mahrez. It came when Mahrez had the ball on the right and he puts in a cross that misses everyone, including West Ham keeper Darren Randolph, and the ball nestles into the bottom corner. He probably didn't mean it, but whether he meant it or not, he put Leicester 1-0 up. And Leicester would double their lead only 3 minutes later when their centre-back Robert Huth got on the score sheet. It came when Leicester had a free kick in a dangerous position, and instead of crossing it, Riyad Mahrez played it short to Mark Albrighton, who then clipped the ball into the box, and the on-running Huth got his head onto it and the ball went straight past Randolph. But West Ham would get a go back in the 20th minute through Manuel Lanzini. It came when West Ham had a free kick and Lanzini stepped up to take it, and he gets over the wall and the ball flies into the top corner. But Leicester would retake their 2-goal lead when Jamie Vardy got on the scoreboard. It came when a corner is whipped into the box from Mark Albrighton and it pinballs around the 6-yard box, and West Ham are unable to clear it, and it falls to Vardy, who smashes the ball high past Darren Randolph. But West Ham would get another go back in the 63rd minute when a West Ham corner is whipped in, and of course Andy Carroll is on the end of it at the back post, and he heads it back across the face of goal into the path of Andrew Ayew, who heads the ball into the back of the net. And that's how the game would end. And West Ham, how on earth have you not won that one? You were the better side and had far more chances and possession, but you just couldn't make your chances count. No thanks to Kasper Schmeichel, because despite conceding twice, he has an absolute blinder of a game. He made 2 world-class saves that a lot of pundits have been saying were just like his dad back in the day. It was a great match. In my opinion, West Ham deserved the win, but they didn't get it, and Leicester were able to hold on to all 3 of the points. And with this result, Leicester stayed where they were in 15th, but West Ham dropped a place down to 12th. And we move on to West Brom versus Arsenal. West Brom was sitting extremely deep for the first 10 minutes so they would soak up any Arsenal attack and then counter. And this game plan would seem to be the perfect strategy, as they took the lead in the 12th minute through Craig Dawson. It came when the ball is whipped into the box from Nasser Chadley corner, and on the end of it was Craig Dawson with his header that went into the far side of the net past Petr Cech. But West Brom wouldn't be in the lead for long, as only 2 minutes later Alexis Sanchez would put Arsenal level. It came when West Brom completely switch off, and Alexis Sanchez had all the time in the world to collect the ball from Granit Xhaka, cut inside onto his stronger foot and smash the ball into the roof of the net. But West Brom would retake the lead in the 55th minute through Hal Robson-Kanu. It came when the ball is chipped into the Arsenal box, and Ospina came out and tried to slide the ball away, but he completely misses and the ball falls to Robson-Kanu, and with his second touch of the ball after coming onto the pitch, he put the Baggies ahead. And West Brom would put the game to bed in the 76th minute when Craig Dawson got his second of the match. It was basically a carbon copy of his first goal, as a corner is whipped into the box, and yet again he gets his head onto it and plants it into the back of the net. And that's how the game would end. A great win for West Brom and a horrible defeat for Arsenal, who are slowly losing their grasp on Champions League football next season, as not only did they miss the chance to pressure Liverpool, they also opened the door for Manchester United to overtake them if they won on Sunday. Arsenal were poor in this match. The only players that looked like they could be bothered were obviously Alexis Sanchez and actually Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Other than that, the rest of the team were just shite, and surely you can't just blame that on Arsene Wenger. The fact that your team are playing like a bunch of 11-year-olds isn't 100% Arsene's fault, it's just not. You've got to look at Cech, who's been shit this season. You've got to look at Bellerin, who's been shit this season compared to last. You've got to look at Mesut Ozil, who compared to how he should be playing, has been shit this season. And I don't think a change of manager will sort that out straight away. By the way, this is the most Wenger out posters I have ever seen at an Arsenal game. Jesus Christ. But with this result, West Brom picked up another 3 points in their, let's be honest, overachieving season. And they are in 8th, and Arsenal are still in 5th, but they could move down to 6th if Manchester United beat Middlesbrough. And speaking of Manchester United beating Middlesbrough, we move on to Middlesbrough versus Manchester United. Manchester United took the lead in this one in the 30th minute when Marwan Fellaini opened the scoring. It came when Ashley Young crossed the ball in, and at the back post to receive it was Fellaini, who headed home past Victor Valdez. Jesse Lingard also scored a decent goal, but you know what? He fucking ruined it. Look at this cringy little bastard. What the fuck are you doing? Just score and do a normal celebration. I'll tell you what, football celebrations are getting fucking horrible. This shit, Pogba's dab that he's barely done all season, because let's be honest, he's barely done anything this season. Harry Kane and Dele Alli's gay little handshake from the other week, and there was this thing on Twitter that I saw where Juventus players were doing some weird shit as well. Just fucking stop. Not talking about the goal, because the celebration is one of the worst things I've ever seen. I mean, just look at him. It looks like he's sucking an invisible dick. But Middlesbrough would get a goal back in the 76th minute through Rudy Gestede. It came when Manchester United's defence broke down, and when Martin de Roon headed the ball downwards, which Chris Smalling completely misses, it was a golden opportunity for Gestede, who made no mistake and got his first league goal for Middlesbrough. And you wouldn't believe this, Middlesbrough were the better side after this. Mourinho did what he does best, and he parked the bus against fucking Middlesbrough. Are you having a laugh? But United did get the killer blow, as in the 92nd minute they went 3-1 up through Antonio Valencia. Victor Valdez, what are you doing? The ball is coming back for a pass back, and Valdez moves over to line up, and he's going to punt the ball up the field, but he slips, and in came Valencia to tap into an empty net for the easiest goal he's ever going to score. I don't know why I did that. And that's how the game would end. Manchester United end up getting all 3 points, but in that period where Middlesbrough got the goal back, they could have easily equalised, because United just sat back, went ultra defensive. But with this result, Middlesbrough are down in 19th, and Manchester United are in 6th. Wait a minute. What? Oh my! Manchester United are no longer 6th. What the fuck? Get the champagne, lads. Oh, Jesus. And we move on to Tottenham versus Southampton. Tottenham took the lead in this one 30 minutes into the first half when they took the lead through Christian Eriksen. It came when Moussa Dembele simply laid it off to Eriksen, who took one touch to set himself before placing the ball into the bottom left corner. And Tottenham would have the perfect chance to double their lead in the 32nd minute when Stephen Davis brought down Dele Alli in the box, and the referee pointed to the spot. Dele Alli stepped up to take it, and he sent Fraser Foster the wrong way and placed the ball in the back of the net. But Southampton would get a goal back in this one in the 51st minute when they reduced the deficit to 1 through James Ward-Prowse. It came when Tottenham's defence completely shut down for a split second as Ryan Bertrand runs down the left-hand side before delivering a great ball into the face of goal. Tottenham couldn't get it clear, and James Ward-Prowse was ready to pounce and grabs his 3rd goal of the season. That sounds like a nursery rhyme. And that's how the game would end. This match was the perfect definition of a game of 2 halves. Tottenham were great in the first half, however in the second half they sat back, reserved their energy, and Southampton were the better side. Tottenham just seemed to drop off in the second half, but nonetheless they managed to hold on and extend their home unbeaten run to 10. But with this result, both teams stayed exactly where they started the match, with Tottenham in 2nd and Southampton in 10th. And we move on to Stoke versus Chelsea. The opening goal of this game was really weird. It came in the 13th minute when Chelsea had a free kick on the left hand side, and everyone thinks that Willian is going to put a cross in, but the Brazilian spots a gap between Stoke keeper Lee Grant and the near post, and he goes for the shot that Lee Grant makes a complete mess of, and he fumbles the ball over the line, and Chelsea took the lead. But Stoke will get a perfect chance to equalise in the 40th minute when they were given a penalty. It came when a Stoke free kick is put into the box that Thibaut Courtois catches, but you see John Walters on the ground, and the referee points to the spot and rules that Gary Cahill pushed him in the back. John Walters stepped up to take it, and he smashes the ball into the top right as he puts Stoke level. The game looked like it was surprising going to end 1-1, and that would be a great result for Stoke and the rest of the top 4 in the Premier League, but in the 87th minute, Chelsea would get the winning goal through Gary Cahill. It came with a corner, it's whipped into the box by Willian, and David Luiz heads towards goal, but Eric Peters got in the way, and it forced Cahill, who smashed the loose ball home from about 10 yards out. And things would go from bad to worse for Stoke, and in the 95th minute they would be reduced to 10 men. Came when Stoke fullback Phil Barnsley got his second yellow for a bad challenge on Cesc Fabregas, and he headed off. I don't know why he even went for that tackle. I mean, there was only like 20 seconds left. That was basically the last thing that happened. There's no need for that. There really wasn't. He could have avoided that. And that's how the game would end. A great win for Chelsea, as it wasn't the best game, but it was scrappy. It was ugly, and it's these wins that are the signs of champions. Stoke did well to hold on and frustrate Chelsea, especially Diego Costa, who they were winding up all day, and it worked as he was pretty silent for the game. But with this result, Chelsea are obviously still at the top of the Premier League. They're gonna win, let's be honest. And Stoke are in 9th. And we move on to Bournemouth versus Swansea. This game was back and forth for most of the first half, and it would take 30 minutes for one of these teams to take the lead, and it was Bournemouth. It came when Joshua King played the ball into the path of Benik Afobe. Afobe's shot was pretty poor, but a massive deflection off of Alfie Mawson sent the ball into the net, and the goal went down as a Mawson own goal. And Bournemouth would double their lead in the 72nd minute, and this time Benik Afobe made sure it went down as his. It was basically the same as the first goal, with Joshua King giving it to Afobe, and Afobe was in a great position to receive King's pass. He times it great as he shot narrowly avoids a sliding Swansea defender, and it goes underneath Lucas Fabianski into the bottom left corner. And that's how the game would end. A big win for Bournemouth and a huge loss for Swansea, as they can't afford to be dropping points regularly if they want to stay up this season. But as for Bournemouth, they are edging closer to that sacred 40 points, and this win was actually a streak breaker, as this was the first clean sheet since New Year's Eve, and this win gave them their first back-to-back wins since March last year. And with this result, Bournemouth moved up to 11th and Swansea moved down to 17th. And we move on to Manchester City versus Liverpool. Jesus, what a game this was. Despite the fact that it lacked the goals that we were expecting, it was end-to-end stuff with near chances, and it genuinely had everything apart from the goals. But the first goal in this one came 5 minutes into the second half when Liverpool scored from the penalty spot. It came when Roberto Firmino won a high ball from Gael Clichy, and the Brazilian goes down in the box, and the referee pointed to the spot. James Milner stepped up to take it, and he sent Caballero the wrong way and converted to continue his great penalty scoring record. But Manchester City would equalise in the 68th minute when Sergio Aguero continued his great goal scoring record against Liverpool. It came when Kevin De Bruyne had the ball on the right hand side, and he played a great low ball in, and on the end of it at the near post was Aguero, who finished first time past Sima Mignola. After this, both teams really should have added more to their tally, as both teams missed absolute sitters, with Raheem Sterling, Sergio Aguero and Fernandinho missing basically an open goal at the same time. And then Adam Lallana did it at the other end, but I'd say his was worse, as there was no one around him and he got his feet mixed up and he just missed the ball, and any contact from you, Lallana, and it would have went in. And Firmino was already celebrating. He was genuinely, he did a knee slide, he went yeah, and then he looked back and then he saw Lallana, he had his head in his hands, and then Firmino was like, "What are you doing, you little cretin?" At least I think that's what he said. And that's how the game would end. Like I said at the beginning of this match, it was great, it just didn't have the goals. But if both teams took their chances, it legitimately could have ended 3-3. Both teams showed great attacking play, and I'd say draw, probably a fair result. With this result, both teams stayed where they started, with City in 3rd and Liverpool in 4th. And we move on to Crystal Palace versus Watford. Scrappy game, but with only one real bit of action, and that was the goal that ended up winning the game. And in the 70th minute, Crystal Palace would take the lead when Watford captain Troy Deeney unfortunately converted the ball into his own net. It came when Crystal Palace had a free kick that Johan Cabaye whipped into the box, and Troy Deeney was trying to clear the ball, but he actually ended up glancing the header past his own goalkeeper to give Crystal Palace the crucial win. And that was how the game would end. A big win for Crystal Palace at the bottom of the table in what was a pretty boring game, in all fairness. Crystal Palace won the game without having a single shot on target. This is the first time this has happened since 2003-2004. But with this result, Watford dropped down to 14th and Crystal Palace jumped up to 16th. And finally, we've got Sunderland versus Burnley. I mean, what can I say? 0-0 draw. Sunderland really needed a win here, as they are drifting further and further away from safety. Burnley still without an away win this season. With this point, Sunderland are still at the bottom and Burnley dropped to 13th. Right, so that's all the fixture I've got for you this week. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers. Starting off with the Premier League table. Starting with the top 5, and as you can see, Chelsea are at the top, 10 points clear following their win against Stoke. Tottenham are second following their win at Southampton. Manchester City and Liverpool are third and fourth respectively after they both picked up a point in their brilliant match. And Manchester United are finally in the top 5. Welcome, following their win against Middlesbrough. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Sunderland are still at the bottom following their board draw with Burnley. Middlesbrough 19th after their loss to Manchester United. Hull at 18th following their big loss to Everton. Swansea 17th after losing to Bournemouth, and Crystal Palace moved up to 16th after their win against Watford. Moving on to top goal scorers, and as you can see, Romelu Lukaku extended his lead at the top to 2 goals following his brace against Hull. That took him up to 21 goals and 6 assists. Harry Kane is second. He didn't play this week and he won't be playing for a while after going down to an ankle injury. He's stuck on 19 goals and 4 assists. Alexis Sanchez is third. He added a goal to his tally that took him up to 18 goals and 9 assists. Diego Costa is fourth. He didn't score this week. He's on 17 goals and 5 assists. And making up the top 5 is Zlatan Ibrahimovic on 15 goals and 4 assists. Right, so that's all I've got for you this week. If you did, drop a shot, leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back in 2 weeks on the 4th of April for the next episode of the Premier League review, boy. No episode next week as there are no Premier League games because the world is busy in World Cup qualifiers. But anyway, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. The link is in the description, or it's at portionofsport_. I'd highly recommend that because next time I do one of these, WrestleMania would have happened, so at least one of us will be live tweeting that, and depending on the results, that Twitter account might be a good laugh, so go follow that. I'd say I'm probably going to see if Hansha wants to live tweet it, because if Cena wins, that Twitter account is going to go into meltdown. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, the links to both of those are in the description as well, or my channel should be popping on your screen round about now. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.